Can everybody really access the Akashic records for themselves? The answer is yes, and today I'm going to teach you how to do that. I'm going to give you 4 methods that you can use, that you can try, and then choose which one works best for you, because there's no one way of accessing the records. And if somebody tells you there is only one way and you need to do it, and you need to do it in exactly that one right way, it's not true. There are, I don't know, multiple ways, and I'm going to give you 4 that you can try, because I do actually think that everybody should have the access to that resource to get guidance and higher wisdom for their life, to improve their life situation, to improve and heal whatever it is they need healed or they want to improve and change. And this access to this higher consciousness and this universal information is so valuable, and therefore I am going to teach you now how to access the Akashic records. So just before we begin, you don't need to be spiritual, or you don't need to meditate every day. You don't need to follow a certain diet, or you don't need to do anything like that in order to be able to access the records. Just be you, okay? And one other thing that is important is that you need to assume that this is going to work for you. Because if you assume and if you think that, yeah, it works for maybe everybody else, but not for me, then you're going to make this your reality, and your doubts are going to stop and hinder the energies to flow freely and the information to come through. So while you are on the subject of the Akashic records, I just want you to put your mind to the side, your analytical, critical mind. It is okay that it's there, but just leave it by your side and assume and pretend for the time that you want to go into the records that this actually can work for you. Use it as an experiment, and then it, like as a playground. Don't make it a serious big issue. Play with this. So the first method that I would like to give you is you can use a specific prayer. It's called a sacred prayer to open the Akashic records, and also you close the Akashic records with a separate part of the prayer then. There are different versions of this prayer that you can find, and you can also see which one resonates with you the most. And then what they say, how you do it is, with this, you do need to actually follow a specific path, is that first of all, you read it out loud, okay? You read the prayer out loud, and even after your 50th time to go into the records, you don't learn it off by heart. They say that you should read it because it's a different kind of interaction that your mind has when you read the words. So you read it out loud once, and then you read it silently for yourself 2 more times. And at the end you say, the records are now open. And then you go into the records with your question. And this is actually very important as well, that you see, there's so much information that you cannot get all of that at once. You need to be really, really, really specific with the question you have. So think about a question before you go into the records. And then once you open the records with the prayer, and just assume you say this prayer once out loud, 2 times in silence, the records are now open, you're in there, and you start asking your questions. Now, some people, they feel that they are teachers and masters in there, in the Akashic records, and they direct their question to the teachers and masters and get the answers from them. That works well for some people. Some people, they get the information directly, or they find that there are spirit guides in there that will give them the information, or other energetic beings, or whichever you feel comfortable with. Again, there is no one way, okay? You are the highest authority, spiritually and otherwise, in your life, which means that you will co-create this experience, whatever you do. And so go in with your question with the intention to get pure information, to get untainted information that is valuable and precious and important for you to know right now. And at the beginning, it is helpful to write it down, whatever you receive. You don't need to be meditating. You can do that too, and we'll move on to that later. But you can ask your question, and whichever way you receive it, right, whether it is a word, whether it is a feeling, whether it is a sentence, whether it is just a knowing, write down what you feel. Write down what you hear, what you see, what comes through. And then afterwards you can look at it again. This is very, very helpful. And at the end, once you're finished with that question or other questions that you might have had, you close the records with the separate part of the prayer. So that is one method that you can use. The second one is if you want to spend more time tuning into the frequency of the Akashic records, and you need maybe that time, it is helpful to do a guided meditation. Okay, so you find a guided meditation that helps you access the Akashic records and that helps you explore the Akashic records. Now, this works well if you enjoy spending time calming yourself, doing the breath work, and then slowly moving into the Akashic records. And again, once you're there, you can ask your questions and receive the answers. You can do that while you sit there with your eyes closed, kind of in the meditative state, right? And write them down afterwards. And just receive what you receive and ask that you remember everything afterwards. Now, the third method that you can use, and that can be a long or a short version, is that you visualize. Okay? You take a visualization. Let's say you have a lift in front of you and you see that you're on the third floor because this is the third dimension. Okay, so you press, the lift door opens and you go in, and then you press number 5 because you want to go up to the 5th dimension, and you feel yourself going up in the elevator. And then the doors open and you see, I'm on the 5th floor. And then you can either imagine that you walk through a library hall and you go to your book and you ask your question and you receive the information. You can also imagine that you're in an office building and there are desks with different computers on them. So you choose a computer, you go there and you type in what you want, or you can imagine there is a big screen there and it's like the cinema, and you just sit there and direct with your thoughts what you would like to have on the screen, like the questions. You put out the question and see then what unfolds on the screen. There are people who work well with visuals, so you can actually go into the records and visualize that it's all on the screen. Some people are better with just knowing or sensing the information, or actually seeing sentences or having visions, and it depends. It really depends, and you will find your own way with this. It is just important that you trust yourself and trust the information that comes through. As long as you're in the records, I want to ask you to not judge what you experience, just to experience it. Okay? Don't comment on it internally. Don't judge, don't criticize, don't analyze, just receive and observe. Okay? This will really help you then afterwards also trust the information. Because as with intuition, your mind will obviously always have objections about this, that, and the other that it cannot logically make sense of right now, or that it cannot logically prove right now. But later on, your mind can see that if you've trusted the information, you were right, your internal guidance was right, or your higher guidance was right. So method number 4 is the quickest, the easiest, and the simplest. And this is simply by intending to go into the records. Okay, your intention. It's like, okay, I'm asking now for the Akashic record to be open for me so I can explore this question, or so I can experience this, that, and the other. And by putting out this intent into the universe, as you know, everything is energy and your intention is energy. And the universe is responding to that energy. And to be honest, with all of the other methods that are out there, it is always your intent that opens the records. With anything you use, your intention is to go into the records, and this is actually what will get you there. Okay, and the Akashic records are interactive, so don't just sit there once you open the records and wait. Now you can do this in terms of, okay, I want to explore the energies and the frequencies here, but again, that's an intention. But then start interacting. Put out what you want to know. It's okay. Like even your deep and big questions, everything, put it out there. Or simple questions if you want to start with that. And like I said, use it in a light-hearted way, in a curious type of way, playfully. That way it won't be too serious and you won't put too much pressure on yourself to, have it right, and because that's not how it works. Now I invite you to try one of these methods and see how it works for you, see what you experience. And like I said, it is important that you assume that it's going to work. If it works for so many other people, it can work for you. And it is my promise to you that it can work for you if you put your doubts to the side. For the time being, you can always afterwards let your analytical mind look over what you've written or check in with that experience and, let it see what happened. But for that time, suspend your critical mind, suspend your judging mind, and assume that this is going to work and trust what comes through. Now, this whole issue with trusting yourself, your inner guidance, the higher guidance, it's a process, and I get it. And this is what I have struggled with as well at the beginning, because I wanted to understand it, because I wanted to be certain and to know. But unless you put in the trust first, and then look at whether there was something real to this or not, you will not find out. So, and there's no harm in this. You're not asked to, trust in that you walk out on a lake with, that's frozen and you don't know if the ice is going to break or not. There's nothing going to happen. So the trust will develop gradually, and this is okay. But allow your experiences to be the proof and to help you more with that trust. Okay? For some people, it helps them to think that they're going to a certain place actually when they enter the Akashic records. In the end, the Akashic records are a part of you. They're your soul story. They're your soul's energy, information. So they're all in here. All that information is within you. All that knowledge and wisdom. Yes, you can address higher vibrational energies or angels or guides if that helps you. But in the end, they're also just part of you. So it's all within. And you can access that. Now, I'm going to leave you with this for today. I wish you success in trying this. And if you don't experience anything for the first time that you enter the records, that's okay. You do it a second time and a third time with an open, playful, light-hearted attitude, and then see what happens. I will see you next time.